Good evening, and welcome along to another big show here on NVTV. Coming up on the show this week, we'll be talking to TV presenter Chris Bavin. We'll be taking you back to the year 1976, the year that the UK won the Eurovision Song Contest. But who were the winners back then? We'll be chatting to Martin Lee from Brotherhood of Man very shortly. And we'll have some live music in the studio from singer-songwriter Conor Maley. But starting off the show this evening, I'm going to find out about an epic fundraising walk. You can do this for charity, and to find out more, Denny Elliott from Self-Help Africa joins us now in the studio. Denny, how are you?
I'm really well, Robn, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. So tell us about this walk. This is the famous Camino walk that I've been hearing lots about over the years. I've never done it, but I'd love to find out more about it.
Well, I've just heard so much about it over the years. I've had so many friends who've done the whole route, which took about 8 weeks, and they talked about the whole spiritual experience of it as well. You know, it's a pilgrimage experience, and it's something I'd always wanted to do. And then when COVID kicked in, and a lot of us went out to walks, and we began to kind of get out in the countryside, I started to do more walking, and I thought to myself, when we get back to work, I'm going to organise a trip to the Camino. I wasn't sure what length we were going to do at that stage, but I then decided to go for what's called the English Way, which is the end of the Camino, and which is really, really, really beautiful. And the reason I mean, there's two reasons we wanted to do it. One was just for the whole spiritual aspect of it, and to carry on with kind of trying to keep half fit. But the other was the need to raise funds, Robn, because we were hit really, really, really hard over the past 2 years. And the people that we represent here in Northern Ireland, I run a project. I'm responsible for a project in northeastern Uganda in a region called Teso. I'm working with 1,500 rural farmers. And you know, our ability to keep them funded to do the work that they need to do is really important to me. And you know, we've been hit hard. We've had to close shops, like all charities. You know, I'm not crying poverty about it. All charities have been hit by this. We've had large-scale payoffs within the organisation. We've had to close some of our charity shops, and a lot of our volunteers, which should be say, volunteers are typically in our shops of 65 plus.
Yeah.
A lot of them felt very vulnerable with COVID and just didn't come back.
Yeah. And
now we've had to move from volunteer-led shop business model towards a staff-led, which cuts back on any profits you're going to make as well. So we're trying to make a real effort to drive up events. And I thought, you know, wouldn't that be a brilliant thing to do, just for myself as well? I'm supposed to be a wee bit selfish. I thought I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that some friends will come with me as well. And I can take up to 12 with me.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to get a group of 12 to go with me.
Okay, so you're looking for people to join you on this Camino walk then. The first thing that springs to my mind is, how fit do you have to be to do this?
Well, you know what? I thought a wee bit about that before we decided on the last leg of it. The last leg is we fly into Santiago Airport, and we travel from a little fishing village called Ferrol down to the conclusion down at Santiago de Compostela. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad route. It might sound worse than it is. It's 114 kilometres over the 7 days, but that's about 70
How many is
miles.
that a day then?
Well, it averages, I'm saying that averages now 10 mile a day, but there's one of the days you're doing 28 kilometres, which is about, what's that, it's about 18, 19 miles on that day. So I suppose, you know, people would have to have some level of fitness,
yes.
But it's pretty level. We're walking along with the sea or with rivers most of the way. So I didn't want to pick an area that would be too hard on people. I was in San Sebastian last week for a break, met a lot of people doing the walk there in the Basque Country, mm-hmm. and they were sore, you know. Yeah. They were doing a lot of climbing. Apparently it is beautiful because you get the whole view of the Basque Country with the ocean behind you and all the rest. But I was glad then when I'd met those people, taking a couple of days out, sore legs, that I hadn't chosen that route. So that's why I chose it. So people need to be about average level of fitness.
Yeah.
But even if they had no level of fitness at the minute, Robin, they still get 2 or 3 months to get ready.
So this is September we're talking about, isn't it? Yeah.
From the 4th of September until the 11th of September. So if, you know, we just do an average amount of walk, maybe 5k a day or something, just build it up. And we'll, you know, we go as fast as the slowest person, but nobody's there to race.
Yeah.
It's about meeting people and having a kind of spiritual experience along the way.
Brilliant.
It's really good, you know.
So how much money do you have to raise then to get yourself on this trip?
Yeah, well, we ask you to raise £2,000, and we would make about £1,100 of that. Would go with it costs us about £900 to pay for the flights there and back, and to pay for all the hotels all the way down, plus transportation. Yeah. So when you think about it, you're not carrying all your gear all the way from Ferrol. When you're moving on to the next village, there will be transportation there that will take all your everything you have, all your clothing. They will move it on to the next location. So it'll be lovely and easy and laid back. But we're asking people to raise £2,000. Our costs are about 900. But if I can get 12 people do it, I get maybe 12,000, £14,000, and that would make a big difference to the work we're doing.
Exactly right. Well, if people want to get involved, how do they get in touch with you then?
Look at the website www.selfhelpafrica.uk, and they'll find it and put in Camino. Yeah. And they'll find the Camino 2022. They'll find it there, and you can connect with me there, or put down an expression of interest, and I'll get back to you.
Okay, well, it sounds like a great walk. I've met so many people who have done it over the years and have had such an amazing experience out of it that they've actually wanted to go back and do it again. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it, and I think I will go back there maybe next year and pick a different area, maybe coming down into the south of France. Yeah. Just something different, but it's something a lot of people do it when they're retired as well. We can't take 8 weeks out to go and do a walk like that, but it would be nice to do a week at a time for the next couple of years. I think we can really enjoy that, and we can raise money along the way. All right, okay. Well, the best of luck with it, and the best of luck with Self-Help Africa as well, because I know you need those vital funds to keep going as well. We do. There's a lot of people at the minute dependent on us. They've been very badly hit by COVID as well there. And I just want to say that the climate change stuff is really, really impacting in Uganda. People here are cynical about, not all people, but some people here are very cynical about climate change and how it's impacting. But in places like Uganda, the rain's not falling at the same time every year. They have 2 rainy seasons there. And the problem is that the farmers can't predict when the rain's going to fall. They might be going through a really dry period. And then when the rain comes, it falls too heavy, and we get wash away. We get wash out. It washes all the seeds away. Other times, the locusts are coming in and devouring all the crops, and they just need help. And a lot of the money that we'll be raising will be planting trees, for example, to hold the soil together and obviously absorb carbon dioxide. That's the idea. All right, well, a good start would be supporting you on this walk. Give us those contact details once again, and as you do, they will appear on the bottom of the screen. Okay, simply go on the Self-Help website, which is www.selfhelpafrica, and then just go on to Camino 22. Brilliant. Well, Denny, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, Robn. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Okay, let's take you back to the year 1976, the year that the United Kingdom won the Eurovision Song Contest with a song called Save Your Kisses From Me. Brotherhood of Man were the artists. They're still around today. And here's what happened when I caught up with their frontman, Martin Lee, to find out what he's been up to. Now, what's your memories of the year 1976? If you're a big Eurovision fan, like me, you remember it was the year that Brotherhood of Man won the song contest for the UK with their big hit, Save Your Kisses From Me. Well, the guys are still around today. They're involved in a new project called the Butterfly Children. We're going to find out more about that, and of course talk Eurovision as well, because we can go live to Florida and chat to Martin from Brotherhood of Man. Martin, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, and how are you?
Very well, thank you, but I think you're better than I am today, because you're in Florida at the minute, aren't you?
Yes, well, unfortunately, it's a little bit of an English day today. We've had fantastic weather, but today is a little bit cool, and we had some rain yesterday, but the sunshine promises to come back. But I'm home after the weekend, so I think I'll miss the next bit.
So is Florida home for you guys now?
No. I just come over here with some friends. I do a bit of writing over here for the program, the Butterfly Children, and that's, it's restful over here. It changes your head around,
Well, we'll talk about the Butterfly Children in just a second, but gotta talk to you about Eurovision. But is that something you get fed up with people talking to you about?
No, never. Because it's the greatest honour in our life to win the Eurovision for Great Britain. I mean, who brings home a medal? Only sportsmen, sportswomen. And we were lucky enough to bring home a medal for Eurovision, and we are very proud of it.
Now, from what I remember back when you did Eurovision as well, you were the first act to really have choreography in your routine, weren't you?
Yeah, well, in those days you had like, basically people just stood there. They didn't really do anything. They stood up, sung their songs. I've been a high, high, high and a low, 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 all that kind of stuff. They basically stood there. Even ABBA didn't really move too much. They were maybe the first ones with guitars and all that. But then we came along with some choreography, and since then everybody's been leaping everywhere.
And what's your memories of 1976 then? What's your memories of the big night? Did you realise there was like 1 billion people watching you?
Well, if I did, I most probably would have collapsed. But no, you don't realise the importance of it until afterwards. We just thought, oh, we've won the contest. That's great. But you don't realise how big the Eurovision is. It's the biggest song contest in the world.
And what about when you first record a song like Save All Your Kisses for Me? Do you realise that's going to be such a smash hit?
Well, everybody kept telling us, you're the winners, you're the winners. We said, oh, don't keep saying that. You're the winners, you're the winners. And we were first on, as you know. When we wrote it, we were lucky that the people put us at #1 before we even got there. So that gave us a little bit of encouragement. But you can never, ever tell. We thought we had a good song, and we worked on the routine as much as we could, and it was all down to the lap of the gods. And please God, they shined on us.
So what's happening for you guys today then? A Brotherhood of Man, I know you've got this other project which we'll talk about in a second, but are Brotherhood of Man still performing together?
Well, COVID's taken a big chunk out of that, like most bands and most performers all over the world. Really, I would say, yeah, we'll do something. I mean, to say it's hard to get involved when countries are closing down and you can't do this, you can't do that. But if we get asked for televisions and big concerts, yeah, we'll most probably do them.
Brilliant. Okay, tell me about the Butterfly Children then. It's an animated series, but it's been around for quite some time, hasn't it?
I bought it way back. I saw the characters. Have you seen the animated show itself?
I watched the first one that was sent to me, the Christmas one.
Yeah. And what it's about basically is the Butterfly Children are all prim and proper. They're sweet, they're nice, they look after themselves, look after their animal friends, look after the human being as such. In the woods, they live deep in the woods where people seldom go, and they come from all over the world, and together they live together in the harmony tree, and that's where they live, and they just have fun and check out things, learning all this kind of stuff. But the Moth Gang don't like that. They think they're too prim and proper. So we just want them out of the woods. We don't want them around here, because the Moth Gang, they live in the sort of swamp area, and it's all smelly and dirty. It's a fun thing. And we've done a half-hour, what would I say, sort of trailer film to introduce all the characters. I've written about 84 stories, which should get turned into books. Oh, wow. This is one of the books, which is they're beautifully illustrated by Angela Kincaid. Beautiful illustrations in the books. There's 3 out at the moment online, but you can download the actual half hour free. It's all free. It's on YouTube, thebutterflychildren.com.
Am I right in thinking as well, back in the 90s, this started as kind of like a theatre production as well?
Yeah. Well, I had someone call me up and said, hey, have you still got that butterfly thing? I said, yeah, I've still got it. I haven't got time to deal with it, really. And they said, well, it's the year of the child. So in Scotland. So we said, oh, great. They said, can we write a stage show? And it ran for a week. And we were lucky enough to have Princess Margaret come along. She happened to be, I think, in the town. I can't remember that far back. She was in town and she wanted to see the show. So we put on a little bit of a show for her, which was great. She loved it. So that's going way back. That's going way back. But no, I haven't had the time until really recently, over the last 2 or 3 years, where I've been able to get stuck into it with my partner. But yeah, I saw the characters and I thought they look so good. I said, and I bought the lot. I bought everything. And I was writing with a friend of mine called Paul Curtis. He wrote Let Me Be the One for the Shadows.
Oh, wow.
And I said to him, hey, do you fancy writing some sort of Disney type songs for the Butterfly Children? He said, hey, that looks good. So we sat down and we said, well, we're only going to write like maybe the theme tune or something like that. We ended up writing 20 odd songs. Right. And another friend of mine, David Kane, who lives in Ireland, funny enough, he lives in Northern Ireland. He wrote a couple of songs, which are We're All Living in Harmony, which is in the actual show. And then Brotherhood of Man loved the song, so we all went in and recorded them. Everything seemed to snowball.
Yes,
And it all actually remains round the Eurovision, really, because Chiara Jensen, who's our voiceover artist, who does the voiceovers for us, her husband is Mons, who won the Eurovision, right. No less, wow. In 2015, I think, with Heroes. So we're all Eurovision connected in some obscure way.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I'm here in Belfast today. You guys must have played Belfast in Northern Ireland many times over the years.
Yeah, we've been over there. We've done television more than we've done live work over there. But yeah, it was great time. Great time. We had great fun.
Brilliant. So what's the rest of 2022 got in store for you then?
We're now, as I say, we've got this now out on YouTube. We're now looking to get the series now started, and that's what, if any investors out there, to come in and join us and get the series started. You know, it's a merchandising dream, and the stories which I've written, the 7-minute stories, because each series is made up of 13, so it's 13, 26, and so on and so on. So we've got 6 series written, ready to go to start animation. So, I mean, this has been out, just came out before Christmas. I think we've done over 100 and odd thousand hits just straight away, boom, like that. So people are liking it and kids are loving it. They love it.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds like a fabulous project. Martin, it's been great talking to you. The best of luck with the Butterfly Children. And thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And let's hope we get over there and do some more TV or something.
It would be great to see you back in Belfast sometime soon. It really would.
Absolutely.
Right, time for some live music, and one of my favourite songs of the year is a track called Broken Man from Conor Maley, and here he is, live and acoustic, here on NVTV.
I'm staring in your eyes to find a safe place to go. Cause every word's been, but nobody really knows. Such a perfect smile, a perfect girl. I wanted to give you the world, but I fell short and lost you before I could. So take me back, love, I need you to understand. When love and truth and lies, they come hand in hand. Nothing lasts forever, but maybe this will. It's got to be forever, so I know that love is real. Take me back, love, I need you to understand. I'm just another broken man. I'm just another broken man. Trace my love from the bottom of your lips down to the deepest part where my heart sits. I'm afraid to cry and I don't know why. I'm falling for regret each time I told you I've loved you all my life. So take me back, love, I need you to understand. When love and me, truth and lies, they come hand in hand. Nothing lasts forever, but maybe this will. It's got to be forever, so I know that love is real. Take me back, love, I need you to understand. I'm just another broken man. I'm just another broken man. So take me back, love, I need you to understand. When love and me, truth and lies, they come hand in hand. Nothing lasts forever, but maybe this will. It's got to be forever, so I know that love is real. Take me back, love, I need you to understand. I'm just another broken man. I'm just another broken man.
So there we go. That is the current single from Conor Maley. That's called A Broken Man. Do you know what? I'll go as far as saying that's my favourite song of the year so far. The man himself joins us in the studio. Conor, how are you?
I'm great, and you have fantastic taste in music.
Don't I just? Yeah. Do you know, I'm loving that song, and I'm loving the radio version as well, because obviously you stripped it back there for us.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
But you've been getting some airplay, haven't you?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've had a lot of great feedback from it and a lot of help, you know, and people are very generous and kind, and it's lovely.
And the lovely thing that I find about the song as well, it doesn't sound local. It stands up with the other stuff that's going out there at the minute.
Yeah, well, God, that's amazing. I thought it's a lot to do with the producer, Matty Graham. He's some boy out of Black Studios there with Jessica Hammond. They're a great duo, a great team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just finding that sound and that person to help you create what you want, you know. And I found it, thank God. And it's doing well, thank God.
It is, exactly. So where did the inspiration for the song come from then?
This is strange. Everyone thinks it's like, oh, that was pure heartbreak about me. But I wanted to write a song, and I had it in me. And any songwriters will be able to tell you, when you have a song in you, it doesn't matter what it takes, something will click. So I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw an old friend of mine, and she had the most beautiful eyes. And it just struck a chord with me, and I thought, I'm staring in your eyes to find a safe place to go. And I just remembered about how nice it was back in the day, running around the town, no cares in the world at all, really, and it just her beautiful eyes reminded me of that time, you know, and it just struck the chord. The first line came out, and then it just developed into that song, you know, and it's amazing because people tell me that it really relates to them and their own struggles and stuff, and I'm like, oh, you've no idea that this song was just written off the basis of nothing, really, like it's a picture. But that's the beauty of music too, you know. It's amazing how it can affect people so strongly, you know. Now
you're based in Belfast at the moment, but I can tell by the accent you're not from Belfast.
I'm a Donegal boy.
Yeah.
Up the Glen. yeah, I'm from Glensully in Donegal. Yeah, I love it down there. I try and get down as much as I can, but just so busy as well, you know.
Exactly, but of course there must have been a great music tradition up there as well.
I get it from my father, really, and he's been a musician all his life, and touring with numerous bands and whatnot, and he's very into his operatic music and choir music,
right,
you know.
Okay,
and, so I got a lot of it from him. I'd imagine I got it all from him.
Right,
you know,
yes, yeah.
My mum can sing too, but you know, she didn't pursue it, I suppose.
So the difficult thing about having a hit like Broken Man at the minute, you've got to follow it up with something else now. Is there more in the pipeline?
There's loads more, yeah. That's the beauty of it. Like it's crazy how creative I'm feeling, and everything's just coming together, and you know, it's great to have success, and I think it's really important. Not success, I'm not saying that, like, yes, it's lovely that it's on the radio, and that's fantastic, but it's fine if it's not as well, you know, and I think that's really important to say. I'm releasing music, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And that's what matters, you know, and it's great that it's on the radio and people get to hear it. But that's not what's important. What's important is I'm able to put out all these songs and not care how they go, and then they just erupt and it's great, you know.
Exactly, it's great. But it must be great to hear it on a commercial radio station.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
I'm going to mention the guys from Cool FM here, because it's not that often they kind of deviate from their playlist and play something like that. But the reason is because it sounds like the rest of the stuff they're playing.
Yeah,
which is great.
I'm forever thankful for that. It's incredible, and I can't thank the guys at Cool FM for doing that enough, and Stuart Robinson especially, the legend.
Exactly, yes.
Our Lord. And they've been great to me, and you know, and it's nice to have that backing too, and it's good to see them kind of getting behind local artists and stuff as well,
Exactly,
which you know they've always done. But no, I'm just so blessed to have it on the radio and people enjoying it, you know.
So what about the live stuff as well? Because you seem pretty busy with that.
Yeah, I have a lot of cover gigs and whatnot going on, and that keeps me busy. And but I'm planning so many shows throughout the next year. I'm hoping to get into the black box now. That's just off the top of my head. I seen a friend of mine, Look Alone, another great local artist, play a gig there, and he sounded incredible. And I got serious FOMO, fear of missing out, you know, that kind of way. And I was like, oh, I have to get up there, because it just sounds so beautiful. And when you create music, you want it to sound the best you can. And up there, it sounded great. So I'm planning a black box show at some point in the coming months, hopefully.
Brilliant.
That'll be great, you know, and we'll see what's on the pipeline, you know.
Okay. Will you do one more for us before you go?
Of course, yeah.
What are you going to do this time?
I'll do a song that I'm going to release shortly called Praying for Change.
What's the inspiration behind this one?
This was actually, I read it a few years ago when all the refugees were coming over and whatnot, and it's kind of, it's almost like a hit against religion, and my own faith in a way. I'm not a very faithful person as much as I used to be, but it's kind of like, why is all this happening? You know, why? Like when someone can change it, you know. So, but everyone can take their own inspiration from it, you know, I suppose. All
right, well, have a listen to this. In the meantime, Conor, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Robin. Cheers,
thank
man.
you. So here he is one more time with Praying for Change. Here is Conor Maley.
1,000 years go by as I'm staring in your eyes, and I know better when you see it. I take a vision of the truth and you hide it away, praying that the rain will come another day. I sit patiently and I wait for a message from God saying that He sealed my faith for life. Watching people die just to find out that it hurts when you're living a lie. I'm just praying for change, yeah. And I'm hoping that you feel the same. Whoa. I'm living life like it's just a game. Do you feel the same throughout all the pain? I'm just praying for change. I'm just praying. Yes, you're a high portion inside these shoes of a treasured man. All the people that you hurt, they are standing in line to take a shot at the man who always had an excuse for putting his hands on the sons of our enemies. So give your hand to the ones who haven't got a choice, because they have to crawl through life as if they haven't got a voice. They feel shame because they only have the name. That's why they need a helping hand to keep from going insane. I'm just praying for change, yeah. And I'm hoping that you feel the same, yeah. I'm living life like it's just a game. Do you feel the same throughout all the pain? I'm just praying for change, yeah. I'm just praying.
Right, time to get another guest on, and this time a man who I've actually had the pleasure of working with a couple of years back. We were travelling around the North Coast together, doing a show called Wanted: A Simple Life. Since then, he seems to be on our screens every time you turn your TV on. So here's what happened when I caught up with Chris Bavin earlier on this week. So Chris, when are you coming back to Northern Ireland then?
Oh, soon, hopefully. Yeah, do you know what? That still remains one of my favourite places to be. That was so beautiful. So out of that whole series, we went all over the country with you in Northern Ireland, up the Causeway Coast there, and that was just breathtaking. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been. So it was fabulous. So I am happy to come back as soon as humanly possible. So
we're talking about saving money today, and it's something we all need to think about because, as we all know, the cost of living is rising all the time, and it's getting quite crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there is a cost of living crisis, and nationwide, the Nationwide Building Society has conducted a survey, and some of the findings are fairly stark, really. You know, 47% of people are starting to switch off unused appliances. You know, more and more people are looking at ways to reduce their spend, and it feels like the perfect storm at the moment. You know, everything's costing more money. You know, your gas, your electricity, the fuel at the pumps, you know, your food in the shops, which is making people sort of take some steps to try and save money where they can.
Now, some of the worrying things that we're noticing as well are the decisions that people have to make at home. For example, do they heat or do they eat?
Yeah, which is ridiculous, isn't it, in this day and age, that's a decision that people are having to make, and unfortunately they are there. With regards to that, I would strongly recommend people go online and have a look for what help is available to you. You know, there is help out there. It might not be sufficient and it might not be, you know, applicable to everybody, but please do go online, speak to the Citizens Advice Bureau, you know, find out, speak to your local council or local authority and find out what help you can have. But in a wider sense, we're looking at what people can do in their homes to try and reduce their heating bills and reduce their energy bills. And there's a few big things that people can do. You can put a heat pump in, you can put solar panels in, but they do require a fairly big investment in the beginning that will pay itself back over a period of time. But it does require some financial input in the beginning. Then there's some more medium changes that people can make. You know, changing to energy efficient light bulbs, putting a smart meter in, or a smart thermostat. That can help you sort of, you know, reduce your energy usage. And then food is an area that you can really save some money. You know, on average in the UK, households are wasting around £700 a year worth of food. So that is a fairly big saving that people can make, you know, £14-15 a week. So there's lots of small things that everybody can do. There's some medium things that will require a little bit of investment, and there's some big things that will require a larger investment. But there is also help with that. There's grants available, and there is help, you know, out there for people. So I would recommend people go to the Nationwide website. There's a section on there called Greener Homes, and there's lots of information about what's available on there.
So Nationwide are calling for the government to do more. So do you think there's more the government should be doing to help us then?
I think there definitely is, yeah. I mean, you know, they've announced an energy strategy last week, and they've, you know, removed VAT from solar panels, and they've put this £5,000 grant for heat pumps out there. But yeah, there definitely is more. And like you say at the beginning of this interview, when people are faced with that extraordinarily difficult decision of whether to heat their home or eat a meal, there must be more the government can do, and they really do need to make sure that the people aren't being left behind.
Now, do you think people are more mindful these days as well of things like reducing food waste?
I think they are, yeah, and certainly Nationwide study has shown that about 25 or so percent of people are really looking at that, but we need to just eradicate that. I mean, I find it unfathomable that at the same time we have people suffering with food insecurity and food poverty, that you know, an extraordinary amount of food is going in the bin. And as I said, about £700 a year on average is the food waste bill for a UK household. So that's 50 quid a month. That's not an insignificant amount of money. Plus, it has a really detrimental effect on the environment. So food waste is somewhere that I would really strongly recommend people look to make some savings. And there's lots of ways you can do that. The first thing I would recommend is make a meal plan. Get everyone sat down. And sorry, I know this feels like a bit of homework over an Easter holiday, but sit everybody down, write a list of the meals that you want to make and what day you're going to be eating them on. Then make a list of the ingredients you need to make those meals. Then cross-reference that list with what you already have in your fridge, your freezer, your cupboards. Cross off anything that you've got because you don't need to buy it because it's already there. And then if you stick to that, you will not only save yourself money, you will reduce your food waste, and it stops that age-old discussion around mealtime. What's for dinner? I don't know. What do you fancy? I don't know. What have we got? And then you might have to run to the shops or whatever. So I would strongly recommend that. And if you look at the food items that are most commonly wasted in the UK, they're all freezable. With bread, milk, cheese, eggs, these are all freezable. So utilize your freezer. That is your best friend and your best ally in the war on food waste. I know we're not blessed with as big of freezers as we used to have. Lots of us only have that small section at the top of our fridge. But if you use that efficiently, effectively, that can really help reduce your food waste.
And I think we've discovered as well that since the pandemic, a lot more people are happy to grow their own food and vegetables in their garden now as well, aren't they?
Yeah, which is brilliant. That's such an amazing thing to do. And the real win is if you do it from seeds of food you've already bought. So if you cut the seeds from a pepper or a tomato and plant those up, you only need a bit of soil, a bit of water and a bit of sunlight. It's a great thing to do. I think it's great to do with kids. I think it's really, interesting to do. If I'm honest, it's not going to go a huge way to offsetting people's food bills. It takes quite a bit of time, energy, and in some instances money to do that, and obviously you need space to do it, which not everybody has. So I'm mindful to say that it's not a silver bullet. It's not we'll just become self-sufficient. This isn't never-ending circles. We're not all going to be having a little small holding in our garden and not having to buy food. It's a great thing to do. For me personally, I grow a lot of fresh herbs because you only ever need a little bit. They're so easy to grow. They're invariably not that cheap in the shops. You're going to be paying £1.50 for a bunch. They come in plastic packaging, and you only need a tiny, snip a little bit off. So fresh herbs is something I would always recommend we start with. They're very easy to grow and they really elevate a dish. So I would recommend that. But also give it a go. Have a try. But I'm also, pragmatic and realistic enough to know that that's not a real solution, not a full picture solution for many people.
Now, just to finish on, what about some tips? What kind of top tips can you give us for saving money at home starting today, right now?
Turn lights off. I'm obsessed now. I follow the kids around switching these switches off. Have a look around. Are there any appliances plugged in and switched on unnecessarily? Just turn them on when you need them. Do a bit of a spring clean in that sense. Go around. Try and avoid leaving your television on standby. That takes quite a bit of power. Your fridge and your freezer are arguably your most expensive appliances to run. So make sure they're set at the right temperature, that they're not too cold, because you'll be, using energy to keep them at a temperature they don't need to be. Spring clean them as well. A full freezer runs more efficiently, whereas you don't want a really full fridge. So the way they work, so a full freezer uses less energy to retain that temperature, whereas a full fridge has to work harder. So try not to keep your fridge really full, but do keep your freezer full. Defrost your freezer, regularly every 3 to 6 months. Make sure that the frost hasn't sort of grown around the edges, because that will make it less efficient. Pull it out, hoover the ventilation in the back. Make sure that airflow is getting through it. And yeah, that's I think there's some of my top tips.
Well, Chris, it's been great talking to you as always. Thank you for joining us on the show, and let's get you back to Northern Ireland sometime soon then.
Please do, as soon as possible. Lovely to see you.
Now, James Brown and Sons have been a well-known business throughout Greater Belfast for over 100 years now. They've also launched a brand new initiatives to support charity and community groups in the area as well, with a brand new community fund. We're going to find out more about this from Emma Moore, who joins us in the studio. Emma, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Robin.
So thank you for joining us. So tell us first of all about this community fund. How did all this come about then?
So James Brown and Sons, as you've mentioned, have been supporting the local communities for close to 120 years now, and we've had many initiatives throughout the community. This is the first time that we've been able to do something of a formal basis with support from funeral partners, and we thought in the last 2 years it's taught us a lot, and it really is that we need to look after those communities that we're serving. So we're delighted to say that we've put this fund together this year for £20,000.
Wow, and of course it is important at this time that so many groups out there are having their funding cut, aren't they?
They are, and everyone is feeling the pinch of the increase of everything. So utilities, and we are really hoping that this fund will support some ongoing projects that perhaps are going to be struggling, but also to get some new projects up and running as well, Robin.
Okay, so what kind of projects do you want to support? It's a charity and not-for-profit organisations, isn't it?
So we looked at 4 main themes, and we're hoping that that will encompass a lot of what is happening out there at the moment. So education, employment, health, and also social deprivation. So if your project falls into one of those 4 categories, then we would really encourage you to apply, whether that's a small project or something of a larger scale.
So who can apply then? This is kind of like throughout the whole of Belfast, isn't it?
It is. So we have 6 locations throughout Greater Belfast, which anyone will be able to go on and have a look at the website. It's www.jamesbrownfuneraldirectors.com. You can check out our 6 locations there, and anyone within a 3-mile radius of any of those 6 locations is welcome to apply.
Okay, so when's the deadline for this then?
So we have split this £20,000 over 3 opportunities this year. So we're currently in the first pool, and it opened on the 3rd of May and it will close on the 3rd of June. And there's another 2 chances throughout the rest of the year to have an application put in.
Okay, so how easy is it then to fill in this application?
Well, if you go onto our website, there's a guidance pack there and an application form. And there's also an email address, James Brown Community Fund at funeralpartners.com. If you have any questions that you would like answered or any help with the form, please just give us a call. Contact at the email address. All
right, tell us a bit about James Brown and Sons, because there's not too many businesses can say they've been around for 120 years, especially here in Belfast.
No, definitely not. So it was originally started, as you have said, by James Brown, who is our consultant to the business, his grandfather, and it originally started there in the Newtonards Road, at the bottom of the Newtonards Road, and we have grown since, and we have location in Dundonald, Lisburn Road in Dunmurray, Knockbreda and White Abbey. So we have really grown, and we are on the cusp of opening a new premises as well in Carnmoney.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, and of course, like all businesses, the pandemic must have had a big effect on the funeral business as well, and it must have been difficult, you know, keeping the funerals so small during that time as well.
It was, and I must say that it was very difficult for our colleagues, because we are in the business that we want to help the families and really give their loved ones the send-off they deserve. So it was difficult for the colleagues because they were faced with saying no to a lot of things where we're normally wanting to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
But I must say that the families were very supportive of us working within the guidelines given to us to keep everyone safe. And also our colleagues, not only within our business but within the whole profession, really did go above and beyond, like many other professions throughout the pandemic.
And where are we with the guidelines at the minute? What happens at funerals now?
So currently within the funerals we have no current guidelines apart from up at Roselawn, which I believe that they are being reviewed just at the moment, so it only applies at the crematorium. So anything else, social distancing, has been paused, and we hope that that's for good.
Let's hope so. Right, if people want to get involved with this community project, give us the website once again that they can click onto.
It's www.jamesbrownfuneraldirectors.com.
Brilliant, Emma. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So that's all we have time for on the show this week. Thank you to all my guests. I'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.